Yeah, we're going to want that for next turn. I'm just always thinking about if I put this out there, it'll be a great moss target, but you don't mess up your curve on the chance that moss is going to be a problem. You just don't. Which is one of the reasons moss is such a problem. So far we've got a bit of a flooding out a little bit, so this is going to have to be the little slide runner that could. And we did keep a hand that was like one threat, some ramp, but it's exactly the curve we want to do. Chandra. Chandra could be a problem. Chandra could be a problem. I think we're going to get more threats on the board, because if Chandra's going to flip, we'll want things to pressure Chandra. And, you know, avoiding putting targets out there, I think, is a losing battle. This doesn't have to happen next turn. We don't have anything to pay off in our hand yet. But, you know, if Chandra just does flip here and he has removal for our creatures, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. I'm going to be looking for that Rolling Thunder off the top again. Or Gaia's Revenge or something like that. So in chat, Gemini's letting me know that he had an Exquisite Firecraft in his hand when I blew up his third land, and I was at 3 life in that game. So there you go. Really close game. Now he'll need a 1 red spell to flip. If he has Fiery Impulse, he can flip. Or another Twin Bolt. Man, Twin Bolt is one card that's really hard on this deck. It takes out the landfall creatures, and I think it's one of the main reasons that you don't see a lot of action from the landfall deck compared to the ramp deck. And you're seeing it right here, you know, double Twin Bolt, that's brutal. Chandra will likely win this game. We're going to have to draw just the right answer, and I think we only have 2 draw steps, something like that, to do it in. But this turn, we're going to get mana out there, because anything we're going to draw is going to require the right mana. So, this looks like Thopters, but it looks like he takes the Chandra approach. I really hate that in Thopters. It's paying off for him in this game. I wonder how often. I'd have to do the math. I've done the math on so many situations, like the smell test just doesn't pass that he would, you know, be able to have like double Twin Bolt, double red at one other, and Chandra on turn 3. It just doesn't seem like it should happen. This is really rough, because the answers we're looking for are Rolling Thunder, Chandra's Ignition, Gaia's Revenge. And Abbott can't flip any of those over right now. And if we get a few more lands out there, it might be able to. But we don't have a lot of time, and Moss, we also don't have a lot of red. Like, if I drew a Chandra's Ignition, I would have to flip a mountain off Abbott to cast it. I think the right play is to keep ramping this turn and hope to draw a big effect spell. It just... ugh. And save the Abbott. I think I have to. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This is a -7, I'm sure. Which means I absolutely have to draw Revenge or Thunder next turn. And getting those off Abbott is unlikely anyway. So actually I need to get the Abbott out this turn, because that gives me an attacker to go after this at least, if I can find a way to get it through, like a Rogue's Passage. So there are more outs if I play Abbott this turn, even though that feels weird and wrong. Something I can cast. It's a mountain. That is something we needed. But we are pretty much down to drawing assuming he doesn't remove Abbott, we're down to drawing Chandra's Ignition, and if he does, we have to draw Rolling Thunder. Or he has to attack with everything, and we draw Gaia's Revenge. If he might also feel pressured to tick down and kill the Abbot. He's attacking with everything. What could he have here? Titan Strength? That would be weird. Fiery Impulse, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What a weird Thopter's deck. All the little burn spells and Chandra? It's basically red aggro. Hello. I think I mentioned this deck really loves me today. Okay, well, this isn't gonna exactly save us, but it'll keep Chandra from ultimating. And we can take these out. Yeah, we have to take these out as well. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It buys us 2 turns to draw another perfect card and hit runner. I played against Mir twice earlier, Nighthawk. I assume you're talking about my deck running into Mir. And I played against it twice, and both times I was able to go right over the top of it. And maybe it's because of all the ramp spells. Alright, so that's lethal. So we got this one. We hung in there, I think, so yeah. Chandra is just one of those things. I don't think we can really beat a draw like that ever. We had a few ways that we could have top decked our way out of it, but didn't happen. So that's our first loss with the deck. And it certainly was a deserving loss. That was a really good Gemini draw and a really, it's a pretty land heavy draw from us, although you don't complain about that. That's what this deck wants. So there's two more games to go. Liam X, no. There is no cross-platform right now, which is too bad, because that would be a lot of fun, and, then we wouldn't have the wars of people saying Steam players are better than Xbox players. Whether or not they're right is irrelevant. It's just not something to spend a lot of time on. It's definitely not something as an Xbox player that we have a lot we can do about it, but I'm trying. A blog for anybody just joining me is Haunted Flower Duels Diaries. If you look up Haunted Flower Duels Diaries on Google, you will find it at hauntedflower.com, which is my site. And I write about Magic Duels a lot. Hopefully trying to give some tips and some good deck lists to new players so that they can get better at the game. So 24 lands. This is a really risky and generally bad hand. But if we draw 2 lands out of 5 cards, it's really good, and it might be competitive. We'll give it a try. This could go nowhere. So far the deck has drawn what we needed every time, and we'll give it one more chance to do that, but this could be the end of that road if we do not get pretty lucky. The decks are the same throughout the tournament, but this is not the tournament. This is me goofing around with something else. Alright, the pressure is going to be on next turn. It's going to be draw lands or die a sad, bad-looking death, which you should expect to happen. About 1 out of 10 games are going to be pretty rough. as far as getting your mana and spells to line up. So I think we're in our 9th game. We've had really good draws throughout, so this isn't ridiculous. It's certainly possible I should have mulliganed the hand, but I tend to keep these types of hands. I've drawn out of them, look at that. I've drawn out of them plenty of times. Like enough times that I'm really not afraid of keeping 2 landers, and if I lose, I lose. But I've won so many times, I really feel like I'll be fine most of the time. A little bit of bias in there, but it's kind of amazing. I'm holding this because if I miss my next land drop, I want another chance to hit it. And he's going to play some kind of control thing. I'm sure there's sweepers anyway. And here we go. He's going to flip Jace really early. This is still Gruul ramp stuff, but I'm trying like the Landfall aggro deck, and what we have is all the early Landfall creatures like Leopard, and we have McKinney Slide Runners and Gnarlids, and we have Grove Rumblers, and then we have the ramp spells, Acid Moss and Pilgrimage to pump them up and make them big, and then in late game we have Rolling Thunder and Gaia's Revenge, and we also have Chandra's Ignition because I thought it would be really cool to cast on a pumped up landfall creature. So that's what we're trying. It is pretty different. That's unfortunate, but there's no way we can just sit back and not do that this turn. Also this way he flips his Jace this turn. I don't know if he needed another loot or not, but we took away the option. So far Chandra's Ignition, it only came up once, and I didn't need it. And it's been really awkward in the other games where it was a bit of a struggle. It's been a liability so far, not gonna lie. I think the removal out there is too good to just, like, most decks aren't just gonna let you go off with a Chandra's Ignition anymore. Wow. He's really aggressive here. Really aggressive. Gemini is definitely more of a tap-out control player. I'm a sit-back and control things control player. But our hand, you know, no matter what, isn't going to be very competitive here, which is just too bad. So it looks like we're never quite going to get that 4th land that we needed to make the game competitive. At least not within a time frame that, you know, is going to be reasonable. Yeah. So let's get out of that. We'll take that loss. We don't need to watch him dirtle his planeswalkers for, 20 minutes on video while we sit on no castable spells. That's not good content. But it's also not weird to lose a game like that. That's going to happen. If you're going to play an aggro deck, sometimes you're going to get draws. I really, got to check myself. I even ran the odds and was like, not a lot of chance there. Even the odds were bad, so kept it anyway. It was like keeping a really bad poker hand just because you think you can't lose. Alright, Gemini, give me one more. That looks like his ramp list, which would be very cool to see. Yeah, Gemini, I'm not going to sit around and watch you dirtle planeswalkers while I'm mana screwed. And neither are these good people. No thank you. I'll pass.